What's up, y'all? One Piece One Life here, and guys, I'm not gonna lie, the Gods Knights have been going crazy. No, seriously, in the past few chapters, we've been able to see exactly what they could do, exactly what they could bring to the table, and it's scary. You have Gunko soloing almost half of the Straw Hat crew. Sommers may have one of the most toxic abilities we've ever known, and Killingham's ability to just create literally anything out of dreams, it's nothing short of broken. But here's the thing for me, it makes me wonder, if that's how strong these guys are, how strong is Shamrock? Because remember, initially it was Shamrock and Gunko who came as a tag team duo, but after Sommers and Killingham arrived, Shamrock actually dipped. And he left before we could truly see what he could do. He showed us a little bit, but that was not even really him. So while it's on the shorter side, I want today's video to just be an explanation of where I think Shamrock ranks and how strong he is. And hopefully how that plays into the final story. Because this is going to be how strong is French Shanks. But before we get into estimating anything about strength, y'all, I please need you to do something for me. Like the video, subscribe to the channel for more One Piece content just like this every week, and share it around with all your friends who love the series. You know what we always say here, let's get it going. And make sure you subscribe to be and my boys over at CSY. We are over 5K and quickly approaching 6. Special projects still coming out. Now to start off the discussion, I just have to say where I genuinely think that he's at right now. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't know how power scalers are gonna like this, but I genuinely think that right now, Shamrock is relative to Shanks. Now he may be slightly weaker depending on where you think his role in the story is going and what's he gonna do, but at the end of the day, I think he needs to be in that ballpark range of power. Let's just think the logic through. He is just one step, ever so slightly, below the Gorosei, most of whom have been portrayed as more fearsome than the Yonko. There's the fact that he's being introduced right now in this critical moment of One Piece. Keep in mind, it's storytelling 101. If you're going to be introducing people post Kaido era, those people obviously, if they're going to be important villains, need to upscale from that. And this especially makes sense if he's the last of the final 12, the person here who was in silhouette. Because obviously that's Oda's way of telling us that this person is actually going to have an even larger role in the story than we initially thought. Now another thing that you have to keep in mind is his family relations. Shamrock is Garling's son and Shanks' twin brother. I don't need to tell you how strong those two people are, right? Shanks, who most people widely consider to be the strongest Yonko. Garling, former Supreme Commander of the God Knights, the person who may have scarred Whitebeard, and he just got Imu's boosts. And here's the thing, families in One Piece tend to be informative of strength. By that I mean you can check where one generation is and it's kind of gonna line up with where the next generations can be. The most obvious example of this, of course, is the Monkey D family. Because you have Garp, who's just past his prime, Dragon at his prime, and Luffy, who's not at his prime yet, but approaching there. All being demonstrably strong as hell, as we know, even if we haven't seen anything from Dragon yet. But there are some other family dynamics that have this. I mean, just look at Kaido and Yamato. They go crazy. You have like Roger and Ace, because people were saying that Ace may have the potential to reach where Roger was, or at least, you know, around that ballpark, if he wasn't, you know, donated. And there are even some families where if not every single child is gonna take after the strong parent, a few of them are gonna be. Look no further than the Charlottes. Katakuri, Oven, Daifuku, Smoothie, Compo, Cracker, Amand, even that freak-ass Sparrow. Or hell, even look at an Elbath example. We have King Harold, who most people are gonna say is the strongest king that Elbath's ever had, and his son Loki, who it took Shanks to take down. So with all that being said, it should make sense as to why people would say, oh, of course, if Garling is his dad and Shanks is his brother, it's just expected that Shamrock's gonna be there. It wouldn't make sense if he's not. Of course, the next point to talk about is that he's the commander of the Gods Knights. Think about it this way. The 3 Gods Knights that we are currently seeing, being Gunko, Killingham, and Sommers, definitely scale wildly above the forces, the main forces of the Beast Pirates. A lot of people right now estimate them fair enough to be as high as Yonko Commander 1s. And if you're thinking about it in terms of progression, bosses in One Piece tend to be stronger than their subordinates combined. Hence was the case with Doflamingo and his seats, Enno and his priests, Kaido and his crew. We have factual evidence of it being true with Big Mom and her crew. They literally said that during her rampages, no one in Tallinn will be able to stop her. So I think with that being said, and the fact that Oda is holding off on showing us what he can do at this stage, he's definitely set to be crazy strong. But what does that strength for him actually look like? What techniques does he have? What skills does he master? Well, I think it's very fair to say that he's in the least a master swordsman. And before Mihawk/Zoro fans start angrily typing, I'm not getting into the whole world's strongest swordsman debate again. All I'm saying is, he has a sword and he looks like he knows how to use it. And given that both Shanks and Garling do, I'm gonna assume that he does. Not only that though, his sword is very special, because as we see when he's attacking the defenseless Loki, his sword has eaten the Cerberus mythical zone. Or I guess at this stage, do we know it's a mythical zone? I just checked. As far as we know, it is in fact a devil fruit, a mythical zone, an awakened mythical zone, with the ability not only to turn into Cerberus, but its mythical aspect allows it to detach each of its 3 heads and attack as like homing missiles, which each of those 3 heads capable of conjuring their own blades. So he's attacking with literally multiple blades. On top of that, he's definitely a Conqueror's Haki user. Like, I'm sorry, look at his family. He definitely has it. Yes, and I know what y'all are gonna say.
Well, just because his family has it doesn't mean that he has it. I mean, just look at Big Mom's family. Out of her 80+ children, only Katakuri has Conqueror's Haki like her.
And while that's true, y'all, just think about it. Think about his direction in the story. Given his drive, his power, his status, and going along with the fact that he's one of the final 12, you really don't think that he's about to pop out of here with Conqueror's Haki? Now, to be fair, as I said earlier, it does all depend on where you think his story is going. But him being Yonko tier just makes sense, especially if you think that he's going to fight Shanks at some point. Now, Mr. Morge details this out really well in a video that he made about 2 months ago, so I would highly suggest y'all check that out after this one. But essentially, the point he made in there is that while Shanks will probably go down to Blackbeard, as a lot of people have jumped on that bandwagon, there is no way that we're not seeing Shanks in a serious fight before that point. It's freaking Shanks, continuously one of the most popular characters in the series despite having barely done anything. Oda's golden boy, he's gonna have to get a fight. But here's the problem that we encounter. Prior to Shamrock's intro, it didn't seem like there was anybody around who would both narratively fit fighting Shanks as well as can physically stand up to him. The rest of the Yonko are gone, and he's probably stronger than most of them anyway. As we know, him versus any one admiral is not a fair fight, and his haki was literally compared to Joy Boy's, which, reminder, decimated the 5 Gorosei at the same time. So narratively, it makes sense if the introduction of Shamrock was to have somebody who would be able to be both. Narratively, it makes sense for him to fight Shanks because you could have a whole Shanks and his estranged brother thing narrative. I'm gonna go with narrative. And then, given what I just all out explained, it makes sense for him to be that strong, and he can match Shanks in strength so that we can see that fight that we've been longing to see. And I don't know about y'all, but to me, that sounds perfectly fine. So if Shamrock ends up real high in my next top 30, don't be surprised. But where do y'all think that Shamrock ranks? Is he as strong as Shanks? Stronger? Let me know all that good stuff and more in the comments. Now guys, that is the end of the video, but before we go, like it, subscribe, and share it around to all your friends who love the series, or anime manga in general. You know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build a community, but I need your help to do it. That's gonna be all from me. I'll catch you on the next one. And always remember, one piece, one life. Cause nah. You try and tell me that you're not trying to see a fight between Shanks and Shamrock. You're a liar. Y'all gonna be sick when Shamrock one-shots Zoro. Ooh, that day would actually be, if that ever happens, I can't be on the internet. Actually, I should be, because that would be the funniest thing ever. Watching Zoro fans try to scramble about why Zoro was still injured from Arlong Park, and that's why he couldn't really do his best against Shamrock.